This episode of the This is Reportage podcast is sponsored by Narrative Select. If you're anything like me, you shoot thousands of frames at a wedding or family shoot. And though we get the best images by doing this, it does mean the cull can be long and painful at times. Have you ever wished there was something that could speed up this process? Well, say hello to Select by Narrative, a new AI-powered culling tool. It automatically detects any out of focus faces or blinks, and you can view close-up crops of all faces in an image on screen at the same time, making it easy to compare your subjects across multiple similar shots. As well as obviously being great for group shots, I can think of lots of documentary scenarios where this could be really helpful. If I've shot 20 frames of the same speech reaction, for example, being able to automatically disregard the out of focus or blinkers would definitely speed up the cull. It does all this whilst also being faster than Lightroom, with no load times as you go between images, and the speed is on par with Photo Mechanic. It's also optimized to work with your Lightroom workflow, so you can easily import your choices from Narrative Select to Lightroom in a couple of clicks. Thanks to Narrative Select for sponsoring this episode. Head to this episode's page on thisisreportage.com, where you'll find a link to get 10% off. Hi and welcome to episode 75 of the This is Reportage podcast. My name is Alan Law, I'm the founder of This is Reportage and This is Reportage family, and I'm a photographer too. So great to talk to the fab Marnix de Stigter today. Marnix was not only in our top 50 photographers in the world for 2020 on TIR, but he was also fourth in the Netherlands and also made our top 25 storytellers in the world list too. Really remarkable achievements. It was really fun to talk to on the episode as well, with so many fun and interesting stories to share, including something a bit embarrassing that happened to him at a wedding, the story behind one of his specific Reportage Awards, why walking in the park and sitting on benches holds such resonance, his experience of living in China for over a year, his thoughts and advice on Story Awards, being, in his own words, quite a geek, and much more too. By the way, this interview took place on 30th of March 2021, so if we speak about anything time or date related that maybe isn't relevant right now, things change so quickly during these COVID times, you know why there's that discrepancy. Right, over to Marnix. Hey Marnix, how you doing?
Hey Alan, good. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. Yeah, good. Yeah, all fine. And yes, for once it is sunny here, and I think we were speaking beforehand, it's sunny where you are as well, isn't it?
Yeah, a few days. It's almost 20 degrees tomorrow, I think. So it's awesome.
Really? That's nice, man. That's nice.
Everyone's in the park and trying to not pretend that there's corona.
Oh yeah. Oh, I get that. Yeah, because you're in the Netherlands, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And what are the current kind of lockdown rules at the moment where you are? Are you in a full lockdown or what's going on?
Yeah, something along those lines, but you don't really notice it all that much. But the stores are closed, most of them, although you can visit them for if you make an appointment for 10 minutes to go into a store, things like that.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And evening clock, so not allowed after 9, and I think from a few days on, day after tomorrow, it's from 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, right. A proper kind of curfew type thing.
Yeah.
Wow. We've not had really that in the UK.
Oh, good for you.
Well, it's just interesting, all the different rules, isn't it, between the different countries? It's only yesterday we're allowed to meet up with, I think, up to 6 people outside now. So that was a big
Oh, wow. That's forward. Extreme. So no, it's been a little bit more loose here. We've had weddings up to 30 people that were allowed.
Oh, really? What, still now? You can have up to 30 people?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So it was only yesterday we were allowed weddings at all, and up to 6 people only as well. Only up to 6.
Oh, wow. No.
I know. It's mad. And what was 2020 like, for you in general? How was it?
Well, I could say that it was a very bad year photography-wise, but actually quite enjoyed the year.
Oh, that's good though. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like as if you have 1 year of leave of work, and so there's a lot of pondering, relaxation time, and see what the future will bring and how to prepare for that.
No, I get that. It's like a kind of a forced sabbatical, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah, yeah, something along those lines. Yeah.
Is that when I said, in your own words, you said you spent over a year walking in the park and sitting on benches doing nothing? Is that the Corona year? Is that what you're meaning?
No. That was it was 5 years ago. 4 years
Okay.
ago. Yeah.
Tell us about that then. What was that period? Tell us about that.
Okay, yeah. So that has nothing to do with photography. Although out of that year came the conclusion, hey, let's try this wedding photography stuff for a year. Okay. But no, I was always doing a full-time job as an engineer, and although I liked doing it, I wasn't cut out for the 9 to 5.
Right.
So I did some freelance jobs, and after a while I realized, okay, it's not going to work. And a good friend of mine, he said, you know what you should do? Do a Vipassana retreat. That's 10 days of silent meditation, 10 hours per day meditating. And we're like, okay, that's pretty extreme, but
yeah.
Let's try this.
Oh, cool. Okay. Had you done any kind of meditating before?
Yeah, but maybe like 15 minutes sitting on a couch.
Right, yeah.
And it was quite extreme because I was able to observe my thoughts, and it's like, okay, the thoughts are quite dysfunctional actually. For 3 days straight, I heard the voice saying, hey, you could also go home and meditate for 2 hours and then actually work 10 hours and get something done. So I heard that for almost 3 days straight in my head.
Right.
And I was like, okay, there's something wrong here. So I decided, okay, let's tackle this because it's probably a more... sorry, Alan, I'm stuck at a corner in my house where always the ambulances drop by.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, it's quite nice. Well, not nice, I guess, hearing ambulances, but I guess it gives context of where you are. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. So I was saying, I realized it's probably something that's also a little bit more widespread than just in my head. It's like something society says that you have to be busy, have to do stuff. So I thought, okay, when I come back home, because I'm working for myself, I have the liberty to just take 2 weeks off, and I'll sit on the couch, and whenever I have the desire to do something, I'll just, instead of actually do something, investigate what is at the root cause of it. What is happening inside me that has this desire to do something, although it might not even be beneficial.
Right, okay.
I enjoyed it so much that I was just sitting on my couch and going into the park, which is next door to my house.
Oh, nice.
And 2 weeks ended up being over a year, just sitting on park benches and enjoying the sun or the Dutch weather, which isn't always sun.
Wow, it sounds quite a time in your life then.
Yeah. It was. It was probably long overdue because I realized always when I was working, like, is this really what life is meant to be like? Like doing this until you retire? Like, no, not for me. But that year was very beneficial for me because it created a certain relaxedness, a certain life has your back kind of feel inside me.
What had you been doing weddings before then, or what were you doing at the time then as a job? Were you...
Yeah, so back in university, when I was graduating, a friend of mine asked if I would want to document her wedding, and I was just shooting a lot of mostly portraits, and she really loved those pictures. So she said, "Oh, you want to do that?" And so I said, "Sure, I'll try." And I absolutely loved it. I actually loved it more than my entire studies.
Okay, cool. And what were you studying at the time? Was
industrial design engineering, so quite technical. But I thought, like, no. I'm going to finish my studies, and I'm going to be an engineer. And I wanted to travel to China, work there for production, going into factories and everything. So that was the plan, and I continued on doing that. But every year, someone would call me up, like, "Hey, mostly related to the previous wedding. You want to capture my wedding? And so I thought, sure. And every time I did, I was like, oh, I love this so much. Got so much energy from this.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it took me 9 years until a certain moment, sitting for a year on a bench in the park, I realized, like, hey, let's try this wedding photography thing for 1 year and see how it goes.
Wow, and it must have gone well.
Yeah, that first year was crazy because I decided, like, okay, if I have 12 weddings, that will be awesome. But then I put on a small marketing campaign. It was because it would be my 10th year as a wedding photographer, although in those 10 years I would have shot a total of 8 weddings.
Oh, okay, yeah, spread out.
technically, I was a wedding photographer for 10 years. So I put on an ad campaign. It's like, okay, 10 years wedding photographer. I'm giving one wedding reportage for free if you submit on my landing page.
Yeah.
I maybe within 24 hours, I had like 50 applications.
Wow, gosh.
And I did a small check. Okay, which dates are possible and which locations are nice. And then I did a lottery, and one couple won. And the other ones I called up saying, hey, you didn't win, but I really loved your motivation. And some people even sent in videos.
Oh, cool.
Saying, okay, I'm able to do your wedding reportage for 20% off.
Good idea.
So in 1 month, I had 15 weddings booked.
Wow, that's good going, man. That's so good. Wow, gosh, and that's a really good idea. That is to do it like that. Do you enjoy like back then and now? Even do you enjoy the kind of marketing, the business side of what we do as well as the shooting?
It's funny. I'm actually not that good at it, Alan.
It sounds so good.
This was probably because I was pondering it over a year in my head in the park. But it's suddenly like, hey, let's do that. So I'm not that good at it. Also promoting myself, it's something I have to get better at. But yeah, it is an essential part of any business, I think. You don't help yourself to be the best kept secret.
That's true. It's a good way of saying it. Yeah, that is true. Do you enjoy the technical side of what we do? Because I know in your own words you say you're quite a geek. So technical side of photography.
So way back when I started out photography, you had the term strobist, where you had the off-camera flash, and you'd even tweak with the sync speed and everything. Well, that's the kind of thing I did.
Oh,
so
cool.
The technical aspects is like, that's easy for me. I love it. So those first, when I was doing portraits, I was like trying to overpower the sun and like really, really cheesy ass stuff. So that was easy for me. So also my first year of wedding photography, that's where I fully focused on, because like, okay, this is one of my strong points. Let's make those kind of images that stand out, and I'll get more bookings from people who want that kind of style. Mm-hmm. So far away from reportage.
Okay, that's interesting starting that way, but it's so good to have that real kind of technical know-how of how your cameras work and be so interested in it. It's a very important part of what we do as well.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But it has to marry up with that kind of feeling and that empathy as well, which it does in your work, though, man. You've won so many Reportage Awards and Story Awards. You're so good. So you got it all, Marnix. You got it all.
Well, that's a little bit. There's so many. It's also funny, like listening to all the podcasts. There's so many amazing photographers out there, and the list is so long of wedding photographers you've interviewed that I look up to, and there's so much to learn every time. So saying I've got it all is a little bit Well,
but you are so good though, man. And I know I get that. I know what you mean. There is a world of talent out there. But you're so good. You were recently in the top 25 storytellers in the world as well in 2020, which is, that's an incredible achievement. And that's not just for individual images. Obviously, that's for story awards, which is 15 to 20 images in each one. Do you have any tips, on story awards in particular? It could be advice on the actual shooting itself, or it could be your thoughts on how you pick your images, or any advice at all?
Alan, that is the most difficult part. I can spend an entire day selecting the two stories I want to submit, or two. I have to choose between 15 and 20 images, and then I have this. Oh, this image is so good, but it doesn't fit into the rest.
Right. Yeah.
Take it out. Oh no, this is the most difficult part of submitting for a TIR.
I bet. Yeah.
What I usually make sure is that the first image, it needs to be different, because the times I've been a jury on an award for wedding photography, then you just have such a huge amount of really good images, but if they don't stand out, that's the level also of course in This Is Reportage is so high. So
I think that's really important. That first image does need to stand out, doesn't it?
Yeah, and also after that, then to make sure that you have a narrow, semi-wide, and wide images to tell the entire story. To cool. Not just be focused on same type of. I shoot mainly with the 35.
Okay.
But somehow it becomes a bit boring if all the images are shot on a 35.
No, I get that.
So you need to change it up a bit.
Yeah, variety is spice of life, man. Spice of life.
Yeah.
It is important though, isn't it? Because you want to tell a kind of dynamic, creative story. And if you're using that same focal length, if you're standing the same distance from your subjects all the time, it's, not as interesting as it could be, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's why I've also last year, I've bought a 135 millimeter.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Because normally I shoot with a 35 and an 85. Mm-hmm. But this year, or last year at least, it was like, social distancing. So I thought let's buy a little bit more telelens. Mm-hmm. And it also works because I've been shooting a lot of smaller weddings. Like last Sunday, I had a renewal of the vows.
Oh, cool.
And there were only 4 guests.
Right, okay. Right.
And then I can shoot from one spot with the 35 and the same spot with a 135. And you can get portraits and a wide angle shot from the same point, and it looks totally different. And I don't have to walk around as much. So
I think that's really, really good idea. Really good. I think that, as you say, that variety is really important in getting that kind of different looks. And I shoot with a 24 mil and 25 mil actually, and an 85 mil. And I like those difference in focal lengths. I think it's important.
I tried the 24 once back on my Nikon, but I thought it was a little bit too much distortion. Maybe you have a better lens. I'm also looking at 28. Might be just a little bit wider than the 35.
That's true. Might be a sweet spot for you. Yeah, I think 24 for me was just kind of what I began with, so I was just so used to it, and I just love being that physically really close, and it's so intimate. I love it. But I think a lot of it is what you begin with, because then I tried a 35 mil after that, and I felt personally that I was just a bit too far away. But I think that's because I started with a 24 mil, So
it's so awesome that you're able to be that close and be comfortable with it, right? Because that's a big thing for a lot of people. Getting close to your subject is.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? I think what's also helped now is going to the Sony. So I shoot the A9 and I use the screen like 100% of the time. So now I can be even closer without being in their personal space, because I can, put my art rather than breathing on them and looking through the viewfinder. I can, use the screen. And what are you using now? What are you doing?
The A7 III is. Cool. I also switched using the Nikons before, D750. Although I'm still using one D750 for not that many parties nowadays, but because then it's a little bit more robust. So it have beer thrown over it, and it still works. And
that's a handy skill to have in a camera. That is actually beer proof. Yeah.
But I really love the A7 Freeze, and well, it's probably similar to the A9 with the flip screen. Yeah. And for me also, like 99% of the time, I'm just using the screen.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? We both do the same. It changes the way you shoot, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah, and I noticed it the first wedding I did with two A7 Freeze. I had so much more energy, because normally I would be like lying on the ground to get this weird angle, and I'd be just a little bit holding the camera on the ground, and so much easier. So it leaves more energy and more ability to actually focus on the moment.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I never even thought of that, but that is really true. Yeah, it's true. So, I mean, because you talked about, so weddings are still allowed with 30 people. And how many did you actually shoot last year in 2020 then?
Not that many. I think 8 or 9.
Oh, 8, yeah. Okay. No, yeah, it's not that many. So I only shot 2. 8 or 9, yeah. But there's only 2. But it's looking more hopeful this year. So from June 21st, it's supposed to, all restrictions are supposed to be ending in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Party.
I know. Touch wood. I've had one wedding postponed to June 22nd. So the day after the restrictions are supposed to. I know. Imagine that would be a cool party to capture.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I can imagine that everyone is going to be absolutely wasted.
Yeah, they will, won't they? They will. That'll be be quite a party. And Matt, by the way, your English is so good. You such good English. You were born in the US. Is that right?
Yeah. But my parents are Dutch, so they just went there for work, and after a few years moved back to Holland.
Did you live over there for a while?
Yeah, but I can't really remember. I was like 2.5 when we moved back to Holland.
Oh, okay, cool. So you didn't get your awesome English skills from growing up in America then? How do you just get to speak English so well? I don't get it. It's so cool.
No, I think it really has to do with one side, that Holland is such a small country that you have to learn English. So in school, the English teachers their level is quite good. And all the television shows, it's not like in France or in Germany where it's dubbed. It's just in English with Dutch subtitles. So you're just used to seeing all the movies and all the series and listening to it in English.
Okay, yeah, I guess that must help. But oh man, I have such respect. I wish I could speak a different language like you can. English is so cool. It's so cool.
I'm pretty sure you're able to learn it if the need is there.
Have you been over to England at all?
Yeah, but not extensively. So a few times London and the UK. I went to Edinburgh and things like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Edinburgh's nice.
Yeah, definitely.
I need to, I've never been to Holland yet. I've still never been. I need to.
That is bizarre.
Yeah, I know. It's lame.
With so many Dutch and Belgian wedding photographers all knowing you and have been on the podcast.
Yeah, we should do a little meetup for you. Yeah, a TIR a meetup party would be awesome. That would be very cool. We'll have to do that when all this is over. We'll do that at some point. Marnix, let's change tack slightly.
Sure.
Okay. A very random question. If you could be someone else for a day, living or dead, who would you be?
Huh.
I know.
Yeah, I would love to. Okay, it sounds a bit weird, but Marcus Aurelius. It's so cool. I've read a lot about this guy, and he's such a wise man, but also in the times of the Romans, that would have been amazing to experience how that is.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Wow, that is left field. I like that.
Yeah, well, your question was a bit left field.
Yes, totally. You're totally right. You are totally right. Well, do you read a lot of kind of historical stuff then?
Well, sometimes just books of people that inspire me. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool, man. I need to read more. I really do. I want to start writing as well. But I need to read more. I should read more. I think they go together, reading and writing. So
so you want to write more. So maybe you should wait until there's like a year where you have not that much to do.
I know I've missed the boat. I just missed the boat, Al. Missed the boat. That's funny. So yeah, you like to read. What else, Marnix, do you like to do? You know, when you're not working, when you're not thinking about photography. You know, what else are you kind of passionate about?
Actually, it's probably after that year, I just so enjoy just sitting and enjoying life. It's crazy.
That's nice, though. Yeah. Wow.
Because I never had that. That was like a real shift in me where before I was always actually quite a nervous child, always doing stuff, always busy.
Okay.
But something kind of snapped apparently. And now I just so enjoy just sitting or walking in a park and just enjoying being.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's like, what else, do you want? I think that's just so lovely, man.
Well, it's funny, that sentence, like, what else do you want? That often comes in my head, like I'm just sitting, like, what else could I need now? And I really don't have any idea. Look.
Well, that's great. That's a great place to be, I think. It really is, man. That's really nice. That's awesome. That's really cool. I love it. And so if you're doing that, on your park bench and things, does that mean you don't watch much kind of Netflix or TV?
It's funny. During editing, this is probably the weirdest answer you're going to get to people you asking about Netflix. Okay. I put on Netflix, but with the sound off. Just looking at series like Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah.
The lighting is so freaking amazing. I get inspiration from looking at the images.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, oh man, I should next time I'm having a wedding reportage, during the getting ready, should ask them to position themselves there, because then the lighting is similar to that.
That's cool. So you watch it all without sound? Yeah,
sometimes it's just a little bit low on the background, and I don't actually know the stories that well, but I just love the lighting.
Oh, that's cool though, man. That's cool. Oh, you're missing all the Birmingham accents? That's where I'm from originally, from Birmingham, where Peaky Blinders. Okay. Yeah, so that's funny. Okay, well, should we still do this little Netflix game, Marnix, that I've been doing recently?
I'm going to so suck at this.
Good. That's good. Let's do it then. Okay, so you know the concept. I'm going to say a synopsis, and let's see if you can get it. Okay.
When I heard it's like, I hope he doesn't ask me that.
I know. I'm enjoying it though, so I'm forcing it on people. It's funny, and I think hopefully people are enjoying it at home as well. That's good. So, okay, are you ready for your first one?
Sure, hit me.
Okay, this is a movie. It's an old movie, but okay. So the synopsis is: parapsychologists create a business exterminating ghouls and hobgoblins and end up facing one killer demon in a cellist's apartment.
I have no idea.
I'm not sure I would get it from that as well. It's a very old film. It's got Bill Murray in, and American film.
With goblins?
I think that, ghouls and hobgoblins.
Oh, it's not Ghostbusters?
It is Ghostbusters, yeah, I know. It's a strange synopsis, isn't it? I wouldn't have got it from the Netflix synopsis. It's strange, but funny. Yeah, it is Ghostbusters. Good one. See, there you go. That's good. 1 out of 1 so far. Okay, next one's a series, more modern series. Okay, when a past crime catches up with her, a privileged New Yorker ends up in a women's prison where she quickly makes friends and foes.
Yeah, I see it as recommendations all the time.
Yeah.
I actually know how it looks, but I have no idea what the name is. Yeah, it's something with orange?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so I'll give you that. Orange is
the new black, right?
Exactly. Yeah, good one. Yeah, man. Good.
Are you giving me the easy ones?
No, I'm not actually. No, I'm not. It's random what I'm giving you. It's random. But it's actually pretty good. That I've only watched the first series, but I liked it. But there's loads of series, isn't it? I need to watch more of that. Okay, are you ready? 2 out of 2, man. This is good. You ready for your final one?
Sure.
This is an old film as well. It's an old film. This is a tricky one. So just let you know, it's a tricky one. Okay. Stuck in a traffic jam, William Foster abandons his car and walks across Los Angeles. After encountering one obstacle after another, he finally snaps.
Yeah, I know this. What's the guy from?
It's a good old.
Yeah. I know the actor. He goes berserk, right? He ends up shooting a bazooka and everything.
Yeah. It's the actor is Michael Douglas.
Yeah, right, Michael Douglas. I can't come up with a name, but it's a tip.
Okay, you know it though anyway. So you knew it. Falling Down, it's called.
Falling Down, right.
That's a really good film. I like that.
Yeah.
Man, you did really well there, though. You kind of got them all. You did. You kind of got them all. So that's all. Yeah, that's all really good. Man, you mentioned how you lived in China for over a year. So that sounds like an adventure. Tell us about that. What were you working over there then for as well?
Yeah, during my studies, I was a lot of stuff is of course produced in China, and because I was studying industrial design engineering, also the production part is a very important element.
Right, okay.
So I was planning together with a group of 7 other students a student trip for 4 weeks through China, and I was the one in charge of arranging the companies we would visit.
Oh, okay.
And if you know a little bit about the geography of China, you have in the south, you have Hong Kong, which is an old English territory, of course. Mm-hmm. And so they speak really well English there.
Okay.
But in mainland China, the rest of China, like you call them up, you speak English, and they just hang up.
Oh, really? Wow.
So we had 3 days planned in Hong Kong, and the rest of the 4 weeks in mainland China. So I booked some nice visits for companies in Hong Kong within a few days, but the rest of China was like impossible to get through.
Right. Wow.
So a good friend of mine said, who was a nerd like me also, he made a flow chart, and he said, okay, you have to say this phonetically in Mandarin.
Oh wow.
And if they say this, then you say that, and if they say this, you can just hang up because the answer is no.
It's a cool flow chart. I like that.
And it actually worked. It helped me to get someone on the phone who spoke English, and then I was able to arrange visits.
Oh, that's clever.
I loved it so much that I also started doing learning Mandarin on audio tapes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And when we were there, I was like, I want to spend more time here. So I looked for a company that allowed me to go to China often.
Right.
And in total, I spent over a year there. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's cool. Cool. And can you still speak some Mandarin?
I've lost quite a lot. I used to be able to speak quite well, but I probably will butcher a few tones if I speak.
Yeah, I won't force you to do it now on the podcast. Oh, that's cool though. It sounds like a real adventure doing that. I've never been to China. I would love to go.
It's crazy. I so loved it, and also my love for photography grew there immensely because every free hour that I had, which isn't all that much because you work like 60, 70 hours per week.
Oh, really? Wow.
I was usually flown into like, okay, we have a problem with this in this factory, solve it, and your return ticket is when you've solved it.
Oh, right. Wow. Okay.
But every free hour I had, I would just go with my old D750 and my 85 millimeters into the back streets and take portraits of people.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Was that so not like typical documentary street photography, but like specific kind of portraits?
Yeah, but just I mean, it's almost impossible to do it in a documentary way because, especially in those days, if you go to the back streets of Shanghai, you're the only white guy there.
Right. Okay.
So everyone's staring at you or just around you. So documentary work is not that easy, but I love making portraits, and setting people at ease in a few seconds to get an authentic portrait.
That's really cool, man. That's such a skill to have as well. So you're not nervous about kind of just talking to strangers or anything. You would just, approach people on the streets and ask if they're, happy with their image being taken.
Yeah, no. Usually, what I would do is just I'd already see someone with a very characteristic face that is like, oh, it would be amazing to take a portrait of that person. And I just walk around clearly with my camera in my hands and just pretending to be looking around and shooting pictures of this and that. And then after a while, when that person, I pretend that they are seeing me first.
Oh, cool. Yeah, clever.
And I'd walk up to them and just with my little bit of Mandarin say a stupid joke or something. And then they're usually quite polite and it's like, oh, sure. And I always did the same trick, which is really funny, Alan. It'll work every time. Okay. Because how do you get an authentic portrait on the street of someone? Because the good thing is I used a D750, a D70, which was an old crop sensor, and an 85 1.8. And if you're not a photographer, you'd think it's a semi-wide angle. Because it's not that big of a lens, but it becomes a 135, something along those lines. So you could make a very tight portrait of someone, and the person would think you're shooting like a total upper body shot.
Okay,
so that would be relaxed, make them relaxed. But also, I would focus on their eye, and then there's always sounds around. So I'd half press the button, focus on their eye, and then I'd look away as if I heard something. And the person would do the same thing. And the moment they look back, that's when you shoot. Because that's the only moment they're absolutely relaxed.
Very clever, man.
It works all the time. Every shot I've taken was with that trick.
That's a good one. That's really cool. I like that. Do you ever use that for your wedding portraits, that same technique?
No. Well, no, I just say stupid jokes all the time. And it works.
But that's really interesting hearing about that. Would you then, when you were doing these street portraits, would you go and show them their photo on the back of the camera as well?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. It's just, it's something I've never done. Again, I think it's really, really cool. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, and I'm not used to doing it anymore. Like, I wouldn't go in Holland to do the same thing. I should maybe. It would be a nice practice.
Yeah, it'd be a good project as well, I think.
Yeah.
Photo project, but yeah, I think it's just really cool, and you sound just very confident, and you're very easy to talk to, which is great, and that skill, it must be really good for your weddings. The people side of what we do is so important.
Yeah, and that's funny that you say that, because I always thought that industrial design engineering was the perfect study for me, because you have both the technical and the creative side. But I realized how much I missed the human connection side, and that's where all those three elements come together in weddings. And
that's true, isn't it?
Yeah,
perfect thing for you, man. The perfect thing.
Yeah.
Do you not get nervous shooting at all, or meeting new people, which you do all the time at a wedding? Do you not get nervous about that?
I get excited, like, okay, we're gonna do this.
That's
something
great.
Like that.
Yeah, but not nerves.
No, and it's funny thinking back, because I used to be a very nervous kid, always quite tense. And I realized that at a certain moment, I was thinking about that a few weeks ago. When did that shift? That was I always forget how in English the different kind of levels of school are called. So what's the school just before you go to high school?
Oh yeah, like secondary school.
Right. So in the last year, then I think I was 11. In Holland, we have this week where you go on a small holiday with the class.
Oh, okay.
And it's usually like a small farm or something near the woods, and you do all sorts of things. Like at night, there will be like a rope through the quote unquote forest, which is just a few bushes, and then the teachers would be dressed up as, I don't know, a witch with a torch below their face to scare you.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
And I realized there that I was in a group of 5 with 3 of the the popular but kind of bully kind of kids in my class.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny to see that they were scared the most. They were screaming like little kids. And I was like, and it suddenly hit me like, what? We've been following these guys for the past 6 years, but they're just like everyone else. They're just nervous and a little bit, they don't know it, but they just over pretend that they are. And I kind of saw this as a more bigger thing. Like, hey, I think most people go through life like this.
Yeah.
So instead of following the people who pretend to be quite confident, I might just follow my own instinct and see where it takes me.
That's cool. That's really interesting that you can actually think of, of a certain event like that had a kind of impact on you like that.
Yeah. It's funny how those small things can have a big impact.
No, really interesting, man. I'm so enjoying talking to you. This is really fun.
Likewise.
And talking of fun, you recently joined us on our first Clubhouse chat where you told a great story about something a bit embarrassing that happened to you at a wedding, which I loved, man. Would you be able to share that story again here with the podcast listeners?
Sure. We're talking about the wedding car?
Yes, the car.
Because I told a few embarrassing things, I think.
Oh yeah, you could tell more. You could tell them all here if you want. It's all good.
So this was, I think, 8 years ago. I actually, crash is a big word, but I bumped into the wedding car of the wedding couple, and the bad thing was, apart from me bumping into it, that it wasn't even with my own car, but it was with the groom's car.
I know, that's so amazing, man. And why were you driving the groom's car again?
I think it was just logistically better or something to use his car. I can't remember. It's a long time ago, but I realized there was this moment when they were parking and I was driving his car, and I couldn't really see how far the hood of the car would go. And I was like, I can take this turn. I was just trying to park next to the wedding couple, and it's like, oh crap! And I just remember that moment where I just holding onto the steering wheel and flush between my armpits, like, are you freaking kidding me? What just happened?
Oh man, that would stress me out. But they were cool, weren't they? They were fine.
So cool. They were so fun, and it was like a really, really small bump. There's not even, there was only the rubber of the bumper, just a little mark on it. And the groom, he walked out of the car, and the only thing he did, he looked at it, he put his finger in his mouth and then wiped it off. It's like, no problem. That's what he said.
That is cool. Oh man, I bet your heart was in your. Oh man, I can only imagine. I'm so awful with driving, so that is my worst nightmare. That is hitting the
Yeah. No, I have this trauma now where I always park way further up. It's like, no, there's a spot over there 100 meters further also where I can park.
I'm like that in day-to-day life. I swear, my parking is so bad. My wife always, we go if we go in the olden days when you go out to the supermarket and whatnot, there'd be loads of, she'd say
long time ago.
Yeah, I know, back in the day. But yeah, there'd be available spaces, but I have to go around to where there's 5 free spaces in a row. That's what I like to do. That's funny.
No, I have to actually practice. My driving skills aren't that bad nowadays, but parking is still one of my not so strong points. So I don't want it to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I have to actually practice it more, and then after a while I'm comfortable with this. I can do this.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I'm out of practice as well, just in driving in general. I don't, because obviously with Corona last year, I've not really driven much at all. It's really been really strange that way.
You're used to having weddings many hours away?
Yeah, so 95% of my weddings are out of my area, so I'm normally driving at least 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 hours to my wedding.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. What about you?
No, usually very near.
Well,
either
nice.
that or destination weddings, but then it's also from people nearby.
Oh, that's interesting.
that get married abroad, or one of the two is from the area where we're going to.
Okay, yeah. And do you enjoy your destination weddings? Do you enjoy those?
Yeah, but not too many. Like 2 or 3 per year is perfect.
I get that.
But
Sweet.
yeah, I actually enjoy having weddings nearby, and Holland is so small.
Right,
like
okay.
you're saying, 5-6 hour drive. Like there's no part in Holland where you can drive for 6 hours and not be abroad. or you're driving so slow, like.
Oh, that's really interesting, actually. Yeah, that's funny.
So actually, if you were living in a country as small as Holland, you'd have only destination weddings.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I do loads that far, like Cambridge, Norfolk way for me, because I live in Cornwall. It's the very southwest of England.
Yeah.
They're all far to go to, and yeah, I don't mind. I like driving at night though. I like that, so I'll often finish a wedding.
Actually, after finishing a wedding at midnight, you're going to drive 5 hours back.
Yeah, I do now. So I've been doing that for the last couple of years. So I generally don't finish at midnight. It might be like 10:30, 11 the latest I'll finish, but I'll drive 5, sometimes 6 hours back. Yeah.
Crazy.
But having McDonald's at like 3:00 in the morning on the motorway. Marnix, one of your specific Reportage Awards that I love, and I think it's the first one you won from us, I think, is the bride and groom, well, I think they're the bride and groom, at the meal, and like she's on a phone call, and he looks to be, I think he's like taking a photo.
Oh, yeah.
With his phone, yeah.
Yeah. So,
you know the one I'm talking about, yeah. It's just such a cool kind of modern, it's like real world view of life and marriage. I love it. Yeah, can you tell us about that? Do you remember taking it?
Yeah. This is one of the, it was maybe one of the first, it was in the first wedding season,
right.
So 2018, first wedding season when I was going full time, 2018, they were using their phone quite often during the day. It was so funny, and I'm kind of, I know what I can do. Like if I can take a picture of that, and we had a good rapport throughout the day. So cool, I saw that moment, and I had already had my flash on the right, bouncing off a wall, because it was a really dark attic where they were having their dinner. And this was the first dish that was being served. And she actually got a phone call. I remember her saying, like, no, I'm at my wedding now. and he was taking a picture of it. I thought it was so fitting. And I took the picture, and afterwards they saw it. And they said, let us take a look at it. And I showed it. It's like, oh my God, can you like send it to us now? It's like, okay. So I actually sent it from there to my phone and then to them. And they posted it directly there on Facebook saying, our wedding photographer knows us so well, he was able to capture our entire wedding in one shot.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so awesome to have that kind of instant feedback from an image as well.
Yeah, because it was kind of like, okay, do you take a picture of this? Like, sure we can.
Oh, that's really cool, man. That's so interesting to hear about that. And do they know now that it's award winning? Because it's not just Reportage Awards, you've awarded it elsewhere as well. Do they know? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're really, really cool about it. They always make jokes when I post it.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's so cool. I love that.
So happy with the clients I get. They're so usually so relaxed and so fun to hang out with. So really blessed with that.
Well, you say blessed though, but what do you put that down to? It must be, a specific reason why in some way you're attracting, down to earth, relaxed couples. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel my website is just like really how I am. So I have videos on there how I am, and
yeah, I started to watch one of your videos, but then it is all in Dutch, so I couldn't understand. Yeah. Have you got feedback on those videos? I think you do those like behind the scenes of some individual images as well, or you've done it on video as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Enjoyed
that works
doing
really
those?
Well. I like doing those. It's not too long, like 1 minute just talking about an image.
It must give your potential client such an insight into your personality, as well as your expertise, but your personality as well. So that's really
cool. And there are so many good photographers also in the Netherlands. We have such a high level, so they're actually buying your character. So you can have someone who's a better photographer than me, but if he doesn't vibe, or he or she doesn't vibe with you, then you don't want that person around. So I want my entire website to be how I am. So I get those customers that really would like to hang out with me and could also have drink a beer with me if it wasn't wedding related. Like have a nice evening and talk about things.
Yeah. No, I get that's so important. It is really, really, really important. That's cool. Yeah, because I just think it's just so interesting how, photographers get relaxed couples, but yeah, it isn't luck. It's all about, what you're projecting, what you're showing, your personality. It's all a massive part of it. And talking of that, and like talking with kind of potential clients, do you always meet your clients beforehand, or do you generally, do it over Skype or just emails, or how do you do that?
I used to do it always face to face, because they're usually only a maximum an hour's drive away.
Oh, right, yeah.
I usually go to them because I feel that then they're in their relaxed space and I can see things in their house and know more about them and relate better than when they're cool. A little bit anxious on my couch.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, if I'm available for their date, 95% of the time, if people contact me, they also book me because the pricing is clearly on my website and it's not the cheapest. Mm-hmm. So if people send me a message, they definitely know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's a good hit rate, 95% as well. Yeah, so man, they like you or they meet you as well. It's all good. And
well, I think they like me or they don't like me, but then if they don't like me, they won't contact me. So
yeah, and you don't want to shoot their wedding if they don't like you anyway.
No. I have to say, Alan, that the first year when I did that marketing trick where I got 15 weddings, I didn't have elaborate conversations with everyone that I booked. And it was for a lower price and there was so much more hassle than nowadays. And nowadays I get wedding couples who even before I send the invoice have already paid it. It's like no, we've decided you're available. Okay, we'll pay already. So it's crazy. Really cool. It's
really cool, man. And so you mentioned how you have the prices on your site. Are they because it's always a bone of contention with photographers, some people show their prices, some people don't, some people are starting from prices. Do you have like your full pricing details on your site, or
full
is it
pricing? So they know.
Cool. But has it always been like that for you?
Something. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I just don't want to waste time with convincing people.
I've always said the same. It's so true. Yeah.
So, and I kind of have this, I would say it, abundant mindset where like there's so many people getting married, and I only need 25 wedding couples per year, and I just want those people that I really enjoy spending time with, and I'm pretty sure that will lead to the best results also.
Yeah, totally agree. It's cool. It's awesome, man. Awesome. Okay, and Marnix as well. Do you have a particular piece of software or app that you couldn't do without, except Lightroom? Do you use anything else?
Except Lightroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there comes my geeky background again.
That's good.
All the Google apps. So I use Excel to auto-generate like replies to emails and do all my bookings and everything. So
do you have like different auto replies depending on like what they've included in the message or something? Is it that advanced or?
Well, so I just get the names and the dates and sometimes the location where they're getting married, and then I have like 3 different options what kind of reply I send based on if I'm available or not. And I just want to reply as fast as possible, So and I always I ask for the phone number also when they apply for a certain date, and in vast majority of the times they give it. So I also send a WhatsApp like, hey, I just thank you for your inquiry. I just sent you an email.
Cool. I do that as well. So it gives them a hint to like maybe look in their spam or junk as well.
Yeah.
Good thinking. I like the way you say you want to reply as soon as possible as well. And I do the same now. I just remember when I first started in business, like back in 2012, I think I had this feeling like I needed to appear more professional. So if I had an inquiry at like 8 o'clock at night, I didn't reply until like 9 a.m. the next morning because that was working hours. But I soon realized how ridiculous that is. But were you ever like that at all?
Maybe before I started doing wedding photography, yes. But as you say, it's people just appreciate it so much when you reply fast. And if they're in the mode of looking for a wedding photographer, why would you want to give your competition a head start?
Exactly. Totally agree. If you can be the first to open that dialogue and get back to them, I think it puts you in good stead. Yeah. And they're excited at that time and they've just contacted you. Well, hopefully they're excited as well, I'm sure. Yeah, hopefully they are. Marnix, okay, I like this question. I ask this one quite a lot, but I find it very interesting. What does it mean to be successful to you? What is success?
Success is being happy. There's nothing more than you need than enjoying life. So
I totally agree.
What I realized is that when I was working as an engineer, at a certain moment I realized I did everything that society tells me to do and I'm supposed to be happy. I am not.
Right. Yeah.
So it says, okay, you do your studies, you get a good paying job, you get your few days of holiday, you get a girlfriend, you buy a house. Okay. And then why is still the vast majority of our society semi-depressed? So being happy is the essence. And from that, you will create work that will help others and they're willing to pay for it for quality.
It's true. It's win-win all around.
Yeah.
And you sound happy though, man. You sound happy.
Well, yeah, it hasn't always been the case, but I can't. There's just like maybe opposite is even more true. Like the general sense of dis-ease or lack that kind of seems rampant, maybe in our society, or well, at least it was in me for many years. That kind of vanished. So there's like a certain ease to life. And I think doing wedding photography is an important part of that. So last Sunday I had my first wedding in a while. Again, I was like, oh, I so love this.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, man. And how's the rest of the year looking for you? Booking wise, is it hopefully better than last year? Is it?
Yeah. No. Actually, it's quite a lot of bookings these last weeks.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Still a few for 21, but most for 22.
Right. Okay.
For
22 is going to be a bumper year.
So, sorry?
Just 2022 is hopefully going to be a bumper year.
Yeah.
Photography world. Yeah, man. Okay, Marnix as well. I've got time for just a few more questions. Enjoying this. If you could interview any wedding photographer in the world, who would it be?
I think I would want to meet up with Fer Juaristi.
Oh, yeah, cool.
He's so funny.
He is, isn't it? I went on one of his workshops in London a few years ago, and it was really
nice.
fun. Yeah, it was really fun. Have you ever met him?
No. Just one time there was this. I'm on his Patreon.
Oh yes. Cool.
So we do like every once in a while. There's for the non-Spanish speaking. There's a meetup, a Zoom meetup. So talk there, but
cool.
Not in real life.
Cool. He's such a character, and do you know what? He's one of the first photographers for me, who made me like realize you can do this just however you want. Just so different. I remember seeing him on a cover of some kind of British photography magazine and just being like, wow. In a way, you could say this isn't wedding photography, but it is, and that wedding photography is what you want it to be, which is it's awesome. It's cool. It's a cool guy, and he was one of the workshop that he did. Often when you go in a workshop, the photographer has a couple of models or real people to do the shoot, and the models he had was Ross Harvey and his girlfriend.
Funny.
Yeah. I know, it was mad that, but Yeah, he's a cool guy. He swears all the time, like every other word.
Yeah. But it's funny, like when you say like you find a photographer and you're like, wow, this is also wedding photography. From the other way around, I started out with a lot of this, flash technique stuff. Mm-hmm. And when I started out doing full-time wedding photography, 2018, I knew no one in the wedding photography business, like no one. And I Googled like best wedding photographer in the world.
Did you really? Yeah.
I did, yes. It's like, let's get some inspiration. Yeah. And I thought, like, I know how to take pictures. Like, how difficult can it be? You shoot when they're doing their thing and you take pictures. Yeah. a little bit naive. And then I typed in best wedding photographer in the world, and I saw Isabella Hutting for Fearless, and I'm like, let me check. And she's based in my city in Rotterdam, actually like a kilometer away. And I looked at her images, and I'm like, the first image, like, okay, this is pretty good. Next one, okay, this is good. And then the third one's like, oh my God, my work sucks. That was good.
Oh, I get that. It's funny doing it at that kind of time, isn't it? That I remember, searching similar-ish, and it's so funny how you search for the best in the world, and she's just the result was a mile away from where you live as well.
Yeah, so I just opened up the website and looked at her website, saw her phone number, called her up, and said like, hey, can I tag along on a wedding? Like those awful requests you get as a wedding photographer. And she just started laughing. She's like, do you know how many times I get this request? I was like, nope. But still, can I tag along? And she said, okay, first I need to know more about you before I say yes to these kind of things. It's like, oh, okay, well, I've been shooting weddings for 10 years now. That's what I said.
Oh, yeah. It's true, yeah. Technically true.
And so how many weddings did you shoot? It's like, I said 8. So you shot 8 weddings last year? No, in the last 10 years. And it was like awkwardly silent for a long time. But we had a really good conversation. And later on, she also said, like, I don't know how you did it, but you just caught me on a really good time. And I ended up saying yes. And then a few months later, she called me up, like, you can join if you want.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was mind-blowing for me to see how relaxed she would just find one spot. It's like, okay, the image is going to come here. This is the best spot. And she would just sit there, and in the end, it's like an amazing picture telling the entire story from one certain vantage point where she was sitting. It's awesome.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's a great story as well. And I love the way that you had that. It's not just confidence, it's just that kind of like proactiveness is surely a better word. How you found her on the internet and then you called her up, and a lot of people wouldn't do that, and I have so much respect for you for like just really going for it like that. I think that's really inspirational. It's really
thanks, but I think it has to, going back to the story I said about last year before going to high school, with the cool kids who were actually so nervous and so scared. So like I realized at that moment, like, everyone's just a human being. They're just trying to get through. So even though she's the big Isabella Hutting or the big Fergo Aristi or the big Alan Law.
Yeah, I think so.
just a person, we can talk.
No, it's so cool, man. I have so much respect for that. I think that's really awesome, and I just so love how we're just talking here, but I hope people listening and getting that from you. I just think that's really cool. It's really cool, dude. We're gonna. This has been so good. I think we've got time just for one more question, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm not going to do the small canapé one. I'm going to do a big one because I've not asked you many questions about your advice. I want to hear more from you. So yeah, what would be your top tips to help someone become better at the documentary side of what we do? What would be your top tips?
Take a 24, 28, 35 millimeter, one camera, and spend one day with a family. That's like totally changed the way I did photography. The first time I did that, it was mind blowing. Like,
what, you mean like kind of doing a family shoot, like?
Yeah, a day in the life, just
cool.
tagging along with a family, and just keep basic rules, like, okay, make sure that the lines are square, make sure that there's nothing sticking out of someone's head, like keep it that simple, and you find a spot where you think, okay, this is where the moment's gonna be, and just wait. That has totally changed the way I shoot a reportage. And it's so funny when I think about it, because I was first doing so many like the post shots and everything. And then I realized, like, okay, especially after looking at Isabella, how things work, it's like, okay, for next season, I should really go into the more repertoire stuff. And I think you were then starting with TIR, and you were subscribing to different kind of people's Instagram account, and talking about TIR. And I looked it up and was like, wow, this actually looks really good. Let's start here. And I was just so inspired with all these images. So every time I had a wedding, I would just open up my inspiration folder, which it was filled with documentary images.
That's cool.
And this is also where I learned a lot. Every time I shot a wedding, I would do the culling the day after, and send the previews soon, because I want to learn from my wedding now, so the next wedding I can incorporate it.
That's great.
This is really good. This is really good. This really sucks. Next time I should do this. Next time I should do this. So you can learn much faster with the documentary stuff if you do it in this way.
That's a really good tip as well, man. Yeah, really good. Dude, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, I've loved it. I have loved this, man. Thank you so much for coming on here and talking to me. It's an honor to have you on here, man. It's been really great. So cool. And I hope we get to meet one day in the flesh. That would be so cool. We need to meet.
Yeah. It's so funny when we did the Clubhouse. The first thing you said, and you say it more often on podcasts, it's so funny to hear your voice. But we're all so used to hearing your voice. And I also said this in the little talk we had before, like you have the perfect podcast voice.
No, that's not.
We're all so used to having the idea that we're talking to you quite often, but it's a one-way street, because you've never heard our voice.
Oh, well, a lot of time, yeah. I feel sorry for you all having to hear my voice every week. That's unfortunate circumstances, that is. But, oh, yeah, and I love the fact that now people can hear your voice, man. That's just really, really cool. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to meet. We'll hopefully be doing the TIR Christmas party this year. You're very welcome to come over. It would be awesome. And as we said, though, as we were discussing earlier, it'd be awesome to do a TIR meetup in Holland, and I'd love to do that one day as well. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll get a lot of people coming over.
Oh, it'd be fun. It would be really fun. Dude, thank you so much for talking to me. And if anyone listening now, do head to thisreportage.com. I'll include that specific reportage award that Marnix spoke about, and obviously a link through to his site as well. And yeah, and all the best for the year ahead, man.
Thank you. You too.
And yeah, lovely talking to you. And hopefully we'll meet one day.
Sure. Likewise.
Yeah. Keep well, man. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the 75th episode of the This is Reportage podcast. Really enjoyed chatting to Marnix. Hope you enjoyed listening. Head to thisreportage.com for a link through to his website and to see the specific reportage award he spoke about too. We have lots more episodes of the podcast available where we speak to wedding and family photographers from all over the world, delve into our back catalogue to hear from the likes of Liam and Dom of York Place Studios, Alice Chapman, Menina Cognes Menina, Christian Levin, Rocio Vega, Alison Bounce, Ange Waterton, Sana de Block, Fabio Marula, and many, many more. If you're not yet a member of This Reportage or This Reportage family, check out all the benefits of joining us, including an unlimited number of images on your profile, 60 individual award and 18 story award entries per year, invites to our physical meetups and parties, exclusive discounts, hours of educational videos featuring tips and advice from some of the world's best photographers, and much more. Submissions are open now for our next award collections. The deadline is the same for both our wedding site and our family site. Submit by 23:59 BST on 24th of May 2021. No poses, nothing staged. This is Reportage. And this is bye for now.